Sorry I delayed to give the breakdown on EURUSD for the previous week, or you can say for the previous 2 weeks, which was basically the last week of October. I felt quite ill. That's why I wasn't able to deliver the recap or the review, whatever you want to understand it as. The recap or the review on EURUSD for the last week of October, which is a smashing week for me. I got a couple of messages. And so yeah, I'm putting out the review. Rather, I'm going to go ahead with the review right now. Now, if you can see, rather, as you can see the whole of my screen, I always have everything marked out for me. This is just what my MT4 looks like constantly. I don't have any other pair. I always advocate for trading just one pair. It helps quite a lot. Like it makes you so stress free, and once you fully understand how a pair works, it makes the job so much easier for you. Everyone in my trading literally picks 1 to 2 pairs because you don't really need that much pair to trade or to reach the goals that you're looking for. So I always go for just one pair. Right, that's what I go for. Now for me, it's euro dollar, and on the what's it called? And then I use the dollar index as a leading indicator. Right, yeah, as a leading indicator. So I have the weekly, daily, H4, H1, M15, same thing, weekly, daily, H4, H1, M15. So now we'll start from here, and then you would kind of understand my thought process as to why I did certain things that I did last week. So now looking at rather last 2 weeks. Now looking at the weekly on the DXY, we had a weekly order block, right? So this for me was a weekly order block. Now this is the week I'm talking about. This week right here. This particular candle right here. This is the week I am going to explain why I was buying, why I expected bullishness from the dollar, and then why I was selling EURUSD heavily. Now, in this week, I was expecting bulls run because right before this week, we took out this double bottom here. So we took out this double bottom here and reached into a weekly OB. We took out this double bottom here, and then we reached for a weekly order block and pulled up. So I was telling myself, if I see price take out the previous day's low, which is basically if I see Monday start out taking out Friday's low, then I want to be bullish on the DXY, and I was looking for the reverse of EURUSD, which I will quickly get to that. So now looking at this for the DXY, we had reached out for the weekly order block and then we pulled higher. Now if you go to the daily, this is what I was looking at on the daily. Now on the daily, this is Friday, so this candle here starts Monday. So if you put this, you will notice that we took out the previous day's low. But not only was the previous day's low my incentive for wanting price to go higher, we had liquidity above market. So if I mark this out, this is how I tend to understand, rather how I tend to look at flat tops. I look at it as a level of liquidity. If I take this off, you'll notice that this level had a flat top, right? So this was a clean level. If you look at the high of this candle was 95,827. The high of this candle was 95,822. So basically it was off by 5 pips, which I'll just call it 95.2, so 95.82, 95.82. So these are flat tops. So I was expecting price to reach for that level. Now that I had discerned this, all I did was then break it down to the lower time frame to get exactly what I was looking for. So I let it scale down to the H4. I don't know why my piece is doing this. Don't get me wrong, every other thing on the Mac is smooth as hell. But running a MetaTrader 4 on the Mac is annoying as hell. Like I think I have to finally install Windows, which I do not want to do because I don't even see the point why I got a Mac and I'm going to have to install Windows on it. But anyways, moving on. So you can see the fractal pattern here. I marked this out. This was from the previous week, and this was what I was looking for to play out in the last 2 weeks. So you see it here, but I was looking for the daily version. This was the weekly version where we took out the previous week's low and then price moved higher. I'm just all like, I feel the market is just all about liquidity runs, basically stop runs, price driving to other areas. Any other thing is, if you don't understand the whole concept of liquidity, the whole concept of what actually makes price move, which for me I think is just liquidity, you would have troubles discerning certain things in your trading. So the price takes out the previous day's low, right? So price takes out the previous day's low. Now if you scale down to the H1, this is what it looked like on a clearer perspective. So here are the double tops, this candle and this top and this top, right? So my plan was to stay slow. I went over to EURUSD and looked at the same thing. Now if I go to EURUSD, you would notice I have a weekly breaker marked out. I had this breaker marked out for time, and I sent this to the guys in the trade room like probably since the start of October, where when this candle took out this high here, I will finally broke and closed below it. I was expecting this level to act as a breaker and push price lower. And you have to understand, the more the high time frame you go, the slower things react. So you're looking at this on the weekly where it came down, pulled back up, came down, pulled back up. If you do not understand that if things are meant to happen on the weekly and daily time frame or the monthly time frame, it takes longer for things to pan out. You probably lose your patience and say, this break is not going to work. But I had the confidence in it. I was just waiting for a structure to set up within that breaker. So basically what I was looking for was, it's like, how best do I explain? Because most people have issues understanding what I mean by facts. Basically seeing the same thing, right? Seeing the same idea on different time frames. That's how I understand it anyways. Someone else might explain it a different way, and that doesn't mean the person is wrong, or that doesn't mean I'm wrong. Just everyone has different ways of explaining things from their own perspective of understanding. For me, a fractal is basically just seeing the same thing on a different time frame. So let's say I'm looking to sell, right? Let's say I'm looking to sell. What I'm looking for, right, are sell signals on different time frames. It could be that on the weekly now, and I'll see a breaker, then I go down to the daily and I see an order block that is a bearish order block, and then I go down to like the H4 and then I see a break again. That doesn't mean I'm wrong, but I'm getting the same idea, which is basically the bearish structure that I'm looking for. So now this was the weekly, right, where price had taken stops from here, closed below, but I never took sells till I got the structure, which I got the structure off of this week, which is the week that we are about to talk about. I'm not wrong, sorry, this week here, which is the week that we're about to talk about. Now, what I did was I went on the daily. Now, if you go on the daily within that same breaker, because this is the weekly breaker that you are looking at, I had to wait for a structure to form, which was a daily order block, right? So for me, this was the daily order block that I was looking at, and this was the start of the last week of October, which is the last 2 weeks, which is the review that I'm doing now. This was the start of that week, and I told everyone in the trade room, I don't do signals in my trade room. Strictly, I do not do signals. But obviously, if I see something setting up, I'll give a heads up. It's more of I give a blanket thing that I'll tell you what I'm looking at, but it's all up to you if you want to have the same idea, if you want to fade me. It's really all up to you. That's how my trading works. So anyways, I see the daily order block set up within the weekly breaker that took out the stops here. And this was on a Monday, so I was expecting what I wanted to see, rather, right? Let me know what I was expecting. What I wanted to see with a price to run up into this daily order block, then I would find a position to sell, right? That's what I was looking for. Price to run up into the daily order block, then I'll find a position to sell from. Then again, I still scale down to a lower time frame, right? The step lower, which was the H4. Now, if you go down to the H4, within the weekly breaker, I found a H4 order block. So now you're getting it. Now, I didn't mark out the weekly breaker here, but this here, the gray box here for the H4 time frame, was indicating the block, and I found the weekly breaker, which is this candle here, right? Sorry, I found the H4 order block, which is this candle here. So I waited till price run up to that candle, right? So price takes out this low, price takes out this high. If you don't understand of a high probability order block, is basically an order block that has a swing. A high probability bearish order block is an order block that has a swing high resting below it, and a high probability bullish order block is an order block that has a swing low resting above it. I hope I didn't mix that up. Yes, I got it right. So that's the definition of a high probability order block. So for me, this is a high probability order block because we had this swing high faded. and he never touched it. So what I was looking for price to take out liquidity from this swing high, right? Or let me not call it a swing high. For price to take out liquidity from this high, right? This H4 order block, drive it into so from this H4 candle, drive it into the H4 order block, and then see much lower prices. But then again, I still went further to scale down to the H1 time frame. Now, yep, this was it. What am I missing? Oh yeah, so this was it. So the thing is, I don't think it ever touched the H1 or B, but that was fine for me, right? Because I had already gotten my confirmation from the H4. So if I do this, so I had already gotten confirmation. Now scale down to the lower time frame, which is something that I always do. I will never, ever, never, ever take a trade without scaling down to the lower time frame. So after I had gotten this confirmation, I then had to scale down, right, to the 5-minute time frame to get an entry on it. Now, I got a lot of people were asking me, was I just selling because I had a disgusting amount of compounding positions. People asked me, was I just selling because I knew it was going down? No, there's a structure to it. I was talking to a trade room member yesterday, talking to Nate, and he was going over, like, he was saying, oh, basically, oh Nana, you're the best at compounding, blah, blah, blah. Which is quite nice hearing that from someone. But you have to understand there's a concept behind compounding. You don't just sell because, like, when I open position, I'm so someone was think, oh, he's just selling because he wants to sell. No. There are a lot of things that make, like, I don't compound every single day that I take a trade. Some days I took a position yesterday, actually, on an FB day, right? Broke my took a position yesterday, but I had only one position on the trade. Okay, I had three positions in the trade, and that's when Nate was talking about the compounding thing, saying that I'm quite good at it. And there's a whole concept to it. Before you compound a trade, you have to make sure the high is in. How do you know that the high or the low of your trade, depending if you're buying or selling, is in? How do you know that? First of all, you have to understand the structure of the market. Then there has to be a proper higher time frame backing. If you see me compounding a trade, I have done my analysis and almost everything that I know is screaming sells or buys, and that's when I would have the confidence to compound. But even after the high time frame is screaming sells or buys, right? Even after I've gotten so much confirmation from the weekly, daily, blah, 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 I still have to find structures on the lower time frame to compound on. Like, I don't just sell because I feel like selling. Right? Even after you've gotten that, there has to be a reason why you are opening these multiple sell positions or why you're opening these multiple buy positions, and you have to do it with a structure. If not, right, when that thing runs against you, you might be thinking you're risking 1% or 2%, but then you probably have like 5 positions open or 4 positions open, and that's going to wipe you out heavy, to put your account in a disgusting drawdown that you didn't even expect to have, and that's going to mess you up mentally, right? Okay, so getting back to this. Prices run to the H4OB, right? Prices at the H4 order block. So what I do now is I scale down to the 15-minute time frame. Now, if I go to the 15-minute time frame, you see this is basically my history, right? Nothing faked here. This is my history for the trade that I took for that day. Now, I was expecting much lower prices, but I'll explain why I closed my position at this area here and why I didn't hold it, because this is what I was actually expecting, right? Or somewhere here. But I'll explain why I didn't hold it for that long. So anyways, price runs up there. I scale down to the 5 minutes. Now, if you just simply from following me on Instagram or YouTube, you know that I'm a big advocate of using breakers for lower time frames. That's strictly what I do. So this was the first thing I did. Now, prices run up to the H4OB, which is this. But then there's a breaker setup, right? So price takes out this previous high and breaks lower. Now, if you mark out this breaker, right? I know you're thinking, okay, cool. Price didn't come back to, because this is breaker. I know you're thinking price didn't come back to the thing. What's it called? Price didn't come back to retest the breaker exactly. But here is my rule, right? This is my personal rule. You can decide to use it. You can decide to drop it. That's all up to you. But my personal rule is if price comes within a pip of my area of interest, right, which is basically my area of my AOI, right? So if price comes a pip close to my area of interest, I will take the trade 9 out of 10 times without waiting for it to exactly touch a line. Sometimes I will wait just for ego reasons so that I'll get like the exact top and get the exact low of the trade. But sometimes I honestly don't care. I honestly don't care. Like, I mean, I've seen price fade my level by a pip 9 out of 10 times and then tank for 200 pips, tank for 20R, tank for 10R, just because I was looking for perfection. Like, what I aim for is something very close to perfection, but I don't try being too perfect because you probably won't get it most times. So you have to settle for sort of like the gray area. This trading isn't really black or white. That's my preference. Someone else might tell you that if it doesn't touch your level, don't engage on the trade. That's up to you. That's up to whoever is teaching you. The person could be right depending on his or her statistics. For me, if price comes a pip close to my AOI, I'll take the trade. So as you can see, this was about let me see. So it's like, yeah, it's like 1.4 pip away because it first pulled up and I was expecting it to touch, and then it started pulling around and I was like, nope, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. So I take the trade, right? So I take the trade, have my stop loss above the breaker, and price starts breaking down. Now, there were multiple compounding opportunities that I missed. Now, what qualifies a breaker for me is when price closes below or above the breaker, right? When price closes below or above the breaker, that confirms that structure has shifted, and I'll take a trade depending if price comes back to retest the breaker. So in this case, here was my first position. I think this was the second position for anyone. Yeah, okay. Now, same thing plays out again here. So price closes below this breaker, pulls up quite close to it. Now, at this point, this is how, when I'm compounding, this is what I do. I wait for price to violate a bearish candle. Like, what I'm giving away for free here is stupid. But anyways, I wait for price. If I'm selling, right, I'll wait for price to break a bearish candle, right? And when it pulls back up on the retest, when it's pulling back up on the retest of that candle, that's when I'll sell. So for me, every bearish candle when I'm selling is an opportunity for me to compound, depending on where my target is. So in this example here, price closes below, tries to retest, doesn't really do it, I sell. Second one happened, right? I didn't want to sell at this point for some weird reason. I think I just missed it because I was swiping through my screens or something. I need to get another screen. I only have 2 screens now. But yeah, don't quote me on that. I don't even know why I said it. A screen doesn't make you a better trader. Honestly speaking, I see people bother about things like setups. I need to get, and it doesn't make you a better trader if you're not putting in the work. So this comes as close as 3 pipettes away from your target, like from your entry level. I would take it if I was on the screen. So then here was another one where price breaks it. So this was a perfect compounding opportunity where price breaks below, right? And price retested it. I didn't see it till up until this point. I took the trading risk because this already had confirmed it. I set my stop loss. So here was my second position. And then down here, I had 2 extra positions because I was compounding on the 15 minutes. So on the 15 minute here, price breaks below this candle. So price breaks below this candle, and on the retest, right, of this, that would have been your entry. But I think I'm trying to see why I sold early. Must have been the 5 minutes. Oh yeah, okay, cool. I sold on the break of this, and then while price will come back to retest, I sold again, and then I held it for lower prices, and then I closed it here. Now I was expecting much lower prices, like there was a double bottom on the, okay, yeah. I was expecting price to run all the way down. Yep, to this level. So I was expecting price to come all the way down to 1.4320. So expecting price to come all the way here, but guess what? I closed my position somewhere here that day. So if we go back to the execution charts, I only use the 5 and 15 minutes to execute trades. So okay, let's use the 15 minutes. So 1.43. This must have been it. Yeah, so I was expecting price. I'm getting messages on Telegram. I was expecting probably trader. Expecting price to come down to this level, but why didn't I hold it down to this point? Now, the compounding positions I had, right? This one, right? This one I had on the top here. the second one, the third one, the fourth one, at my first trouble area, it had done above my weekly target. Like, I have a weekly target, which is about 15 hours, right, per week. That's what I want to get. But at this point, I had done above my weekly target for the week. So I was thinking to myself, am I really going to hold it, right, and risk the chance of price giving me, yeah, don't get me wrong, if it got to this level, I would have opted, like, I would have had a much better return for the week, right, because finally blew through this level. And this is how you know the level that you're picking is right when it has liquidity, is when price runs aggressively towards the level in such a way. You can see how this candle quickly ran towards it. Now, if I had done that, yes, I would have been set on a different pace, and I would have probably tripled whatever it is my weekly target. But I was way above my weekly target by just this trade alone. And price had gotten to my first trouble area, and I think this area was an early order block. Yes, it was an early order block. So as soon as price started tapping on that level and started pulling back up, I just closed the trade, and I was satisfied with it. So for me, it's more about give and take. What am I willing to lose? What am I willing to make? If I've done above my weekly target, probably 3 times my weekly target, or 2 times my weekly target, and it's just probably an extra 20 pips, an extra 30 pips to what target I intend. You have to understand the market doesn't care about what your target is. So I was quite happy with closing the trade here and taking my money and cutting, being done for the week. And on the other end, the DXY H4 charts, if you can remember what I was talking about, the double top, was pulling close to the high. And I knew that, yes, it was going to run this high, but honestly, I didn't really care that much again, because, as I said, I didn't come into that day expecting to compound. Just that the market set up in a way that I was able to discern that, cool, I could compound on this trade, and I took advantage of it. So I did that on a Monday, and I was done. Right? Ideally, I wanted to be done for the week, but I kept on talking to everyone in the trade room. I was having sessions with people. I was watching the markets, and then I realized that Friday was setting up for a new opportunity. Now, going into the end of Thursday, the DXY had pulled into a daily order block, right? So the DXY had pulled quite close to a daily order block, which this was Thursday's candle, and I told myself, if I see Friday's candle run the previous day's high, if you've watched my videos, you will know quite like my system, which is just basically liquidity runs, previous days, previous weeks, previous months. I talk about this a lot, but a lot of people still don't take what I say important, which is fine. Actually, I don't even care. the people that take the information and digest it and put it into practice do see the difference. So I run the previous Friday decides, like, Friday plays out what I was expecting, which was for price to run the previous day's high. So when price takes out the previous day's high, all what I do is obviously the same thing. I scale down. So from the daily, I went to the H4, and then I go down to the H1 candle. So here's price taking out the previous day's high, and then I go to the 15-minute candle. And what I was expecting, cool. So price takes out the previous day's high. What I was expecting was, I think it was a close below this. When I look at the Euro chart, I remember, yes. So what I was expecting now, as you can see, we've taken out the previous day's high, but then here is the last breaker that pushes price up. When price closes below it, the retest of this level, that's all what I was looking for, and I was looking to fill in the void, right? This was a liquidity level, void, whatever name you call it, fair value gap. I was looking for price to fill in this void, at least up until the big order block here. That's just all what I was looking for. So if you go to the EURUSD, this was the reverse of what I was looking for. So if you look at EURUSD, this is the H4, and here's price taking out the previous day's low. So go down to the H1. This was it, yeah. Go down to the H1. This was what I got from the H1. Now, if you go down to the 15 minutes, you can still see my trade history, which is here. So scroll down to 15 minutes. Yeah, so here's the trade history for the 15-minute, and here was price, right, taking out. So here was price pulling above and then having a retest. I think this was when I felt ill, and I was just lucky to catch this trade because I was sleeping all through this, and I woke up somewhere around here, and I realized that I slightly, well, I wouldn't say missed the first opportunity, because here it was, but it didn't have a retest, right, of that level. But finally, when it pushed above and on the DXY at the same time, you can see here it is. Yeah, I always mess that up. It's a tongue twister for me. Okay, here it is on the DXY. We'll push below the 15-minute breaker and then have a retest, and on the EURUSD we're pushing above the 15-minute breaker. And when we finally get the retest, that's when I sold. That's when I bought. You can see it here. That's when I bought into the trade. We pushed up above, and when we had a retest again of this 15-minute breakers, I bought again, and I didn't want to wait for this. I didn't really care much about waiting for this. So I just closed it when we touched the hourly breaker. Yes, I think it was at the hourly breaker. Yeah. When we touched the hourly breaker, that's when I closed the trade, and that's how that's how it's done for the week. So basically, trading Monday, trading Friday. My weekly statistics was stupid. It was actually stupid. I don't want to go into that, but basically, the point of this video, I hope you have gotten the value that I was hoping to give from this. And yeah, so that's it for the weekly recap on EURUSD for the last week of October. I'm so sorry again that it came out late. As I said, I was terribly sick, and yeah, I was terribly sick, but I'm feeling much better now, so that's why I'm able to put out these videos. And so this is going to be the second video. The next video you'll be getting will be on the 5th, then another one on the 7th, then another one on the 10th. So today is the 3rd of November. So here's the video you're getting. So either ways, guys, have a what's it called? Have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, see you guys next week.